Woke up, when I got back into my body, when I woke up, when I came to my body, it really was a holy shit moment. Everything went from believing everything that he was sharing to knowing that there's nothing anybody could ever tell me, knows nothing you could ever do to tell me that I didn't experience what I experienced, that I now know the truth of who I am. Fuck y'all and all your lies. Oh, I was mad. I was mad. When I look back on the 25 years of my life and my whole life, the way I spent it, being lied to about everything. There isn't one thing that I believe that I wasn't lied to about. Everything I knew up until that point was bullshit. It was a lie.
Rolling? Okay, we're rolling. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jen, and I want to share a little bit about how I got to where I am today. I grew up in a dysfunctional household, like everybody did in the 70s and 80s. A narcissistic, alcoholic father, and a passive, submissive, and depressed mother with 3 other siblings, all a year and a half apart. So the environment in which my siblings and I were raised was not nice. It was not nice. The example of love that we were shown was very conditional. It was verbally abusive. It was physically abusive. It was, they used guilt and shame as far back as I can remember. So they didn't know. I know they didn't know, because I didn't know, and they did the best that they could with the information that they had. But it led me, and every one of my siblings, with some type of an addiction or some type of a disorder. So it was no support, no encouragement, very judgmental. I was made fun of. I was the black sheep of the family. The doctors back then would prescribe, they're prescribing barbiturates to the mothers and narcotics to the children to calm them down so mommy can handle, her life. So my siblings and I grew up in the environment of a deeply wounded, depressed, brokenhearted, and anxious mother, and a father that was just not there. He had 4 kids, but he really wanted a completely different life than the one he had. So going into school, I hated school. I really did not like my family, other than my siblings, but I really don't remember ever feeling any love or affection for my mother and my father, because the love that they were showing me was not something that I wanted. It didn't feel good. So I grew up angry, pissed off, hating the world and hating love, and nobody knowing what to do with me. Nobody knew what to do with me. I was just in trouble all the time. Run away from home, get all Fs in school because I just didn't care. I didn't see the point in any of it. When I was 11, I had my first Tylenol 3 with codeine from a neighbor up the street. I was having a toothache, and she offered her father's pain medicine, and that was the best day I had ever experienced up until that point, that it completely changed my entire day. My whole school day went from, just being not there, I was not participating in school, to having like the best day. So much so that when I got home from school, I asked her, do you have any more of those? And she said no, that was the only one that he had left. So in that moment, that stuck with me. It was my life, it killed the pain of my life. So of course I couldn't do anything about it, but fast forward to, I'm in my 20s, I've got 2 sons, I'm married, not a happy life. So as a young mother, I didn't know what I was doing. My parents didn't know what they were doing. So nobody could teach me how to be a mother. I didn't know. I just knew that I wanted to be everything that they were not. So one night, I had a bad dream about my sons, that I went in their room and I shot them in their beds. Right. So I call my mom, I'm all distraught, and her words to me were, that's Jesus' way of telling you you're killing your kids if you don't get them in church. So that was her response to that. And I can't even honestly get the truth about that, but I just was not like them in whatever way. So I don't remember. I mean, I know that it's in there in my mind, but the description I would hear from my siblings, that was just always in trouble. I was always making trouble, and the only time I wasn't making trouble was when I was sick and hiding somewhere. But my mom said that I needed more attention than the rest of them. Well, maybe because there was no love. How about that? I probably needed some love, some nurturing, somebody to try to understand me. But she didn't understand herself. There's no way she could understand me. I don't remember ever there being, other than, I guess, my family, they're Cubans. We grew up Catholic, not practicing Catholics, but just enough that it was used as a weapon, and you had to go to church on certain days. But my parents didn't carry that along too much. So it was religion, Jesus and God were used as weapons, to use that as a threat. God is watching you. Jesus is this and Jesus is that. And it's like, well, I didn't really know Jesus. I didn't really know God in that sense, other than it's something I have to believe, or I'm going to hell. But religion didn't come into play too much until my 20s, after I had that dream and my mother told me. So that's when I ran to church. And that I could never make I had the head knowledge. I jumped into learning the Bible and going to church 3 times a week, forcing my sons to go into Sunday school, and just dove in, trying to learn as much as I can, because to me, there was something wrong with me, that I was not able to love past the unconditional love of my sons. So everybody else is lovey-dovey, with family and stuff like that. And I'm not. I wasn't. So through that church experience, it was further confirmed to me that there's something wrong with me. There's a demon, there's a devil, there's a curse, something an ancestor did that is making it impossible for me to make a head and heart connection. So that was always the pastors of the church laying hands on everybody in my family, because then we all us siblings went to church together for a time. And it was just always some kind of demon or a darkness or a curse that was on my family. And the biggest one was the curse of poverty, because I couldn't afford to pay tithes. I couldn't afford to give the church 10%. So that was a big issue, the conflict in there. And it's just like I jumped into the study of the Bible all the way, just like I do with anything I'm interested in learning. But I could never get it to connect to my heart, no matter what I did, no matter. My most powerful conversations within that religion, with God and Jesus, was around my addiction, because I was desperate for something to change. I kept hearing about stories of people that are doing crack and meth, and instantly one day they're just delivered, and it's no withdrawals, no struggles, no nothing. It was just taken from them. And then God is no respecter of persons. What he will do for one, he will do for another. Well, he never did. He never did that for me. No matter how many times I cried and begged and pleaded, no matter how many times I read the Bible, no matter how many times I went to church, no matter how many times I confessed my sins, in those deepest, darkest moments of despair, nobody was there. Nobody was coming to save me. Nobody was coming to rescue me, which caused me to want to dig a little bit deeper into the Word. And so through Bible study, I started noticing there's different translations. Everybody's got something different to say about this one inspired Word of God that's supposed to be unchangeable. But it's nothing but. So my children were not yet in elementary school when I had this dream. So getting to know the Bible and God and talking with them and trying to build a relationship with them started there. But it wasn't until I had an abdominal hysterectomy. That's when my addiction entirely kicked in, because at the time I was married to somebody who was dabbling with crack cocaine and was emotionally unavailable. So I had said the words to him, because we used to fight about the smallest amounts of money that he would lie about. And one day I said, I guess I'm just going to have to be an addict in order to understand why you choose that drug over your family and what we're trying to build here. And it wasn't long after the doctor's first response to everything, well, you've already had your 2 kids. You're not planning on having any more, right? Let's just cut the problem out. I was in my 20s, so I didn't know. I was like, well, yeah, no, I really don't want to have any more kids. And, oh, wait a minute, I'll not have a period for the rest of my life? Okay. So that's what I did. So an abdominal hysterectomy, the prescription of Percocet that the doctor kept giving and kept refilling, I learned, again, this kills my life pain. I can do all of the stuff that I need to do, be in this marriage that is not working for me. It's not working for him either. So it made my life so much more manageable. Even gave me the courage, I believed it gave me the courage to kick him out of my life. Because I was taking those pills. To me, I was unstoppable. There's nothing I can't do. And it just grew and grew from there. And then, even though I had the hysterectomy, well, I'm an addict. Oh, doctor, I have more pain. Well, we thought we took that out. I don't know, but I really turned into, you need to see a pain management doctor, which turned into 3 heavy narcotics every month. It was morphine, hydrocodone, and fentanyl lollipops. I was on cloud 9. And I was high all the time. Then I just was moving through my life. And nobody had any idea that's what I was running on. It's like, how do you do everything that you're doing? Because I'm good. I was so high. So, but it's because of the cost to, if I don't have insurance, which, on and off I'm with insurance and I don't have insurance, and the cost of seeing this pain management doctor and then paying cash for all the prescriptions, that was not doable when I have rent to pay and sons to take care of. So there was some very difficult times mixed in there, and then the desire to want that out of my life, but no idea how to do that. And nobody else had any idea either. So it was up and down, on and off. It was a very, very difficult period of my life, which was, half of it. Half of it. But I smoked pot. And then after my marriage to my second husband, he brought meth into my life and I dabbled in that. So yeah, I'd have to say narcotics, but that was the number one. But if I don't have anything else, Suboxone, weed never really did anything, but my drug was narcotics, painkillers. That's what I wanted. That I didn't really care about anything else because I know what the painkillers do for me. They help me get through. They help me manage my life and do the things that I have come to believe I cannot do in my own power. I needed them to just live my life. My life sucked. I was miserable. I was alone. I was unhappy. I had no idea what love was except for the love I have of my sons. Bitter, angry, just having no idea what to do with all of that pain. And nobody could help me. There was nobody around that could help me. No church pastor, no counselor, no therapist, none of that. Because I had this attitude that if you haven't struggled with addiction in the way that I have, if you haven't been addicted to these painkillers, you can't talk to me. There's nothing you can say to me, therapist or counselor. You have not been in my shoes. So it was always this, I was angry about it, but then also angry that nobody had the answer. Nobody knew what to do. So I spent years like that on and off buying, having prescriptions and then having to buy them from, other people. Because you get to know, other people, that get prescriptions too. Well, it went on for 25 years, and the light didn't end up until, really, it was just getting connected with Darius. Because even in the 5 years prior, because I got arrested, I got arrested for heroin charge. I was arrested 10 years prior for selling narcotics to an undercover officer. So after my latest felony charge, I was sleeping on my sister's couch. I didn't have a vehicle. Nobody wanted me around. Nobody wanted me around, but thank goodness that my sister let me sleep on her couch regardless of how everybody else felt. And there, surrounded in dysfunction and alcoholism and rage and bitterness and resentment, I felt like I was being swallowed up. How am I going to get out of here? I have nothing. My husband got arrested and was going to prison for 2 years. Like my whole world completely collapsed. All the while knowing this is not, how did I get here? How did I get here? What, please don't tell me this is what the rest of my life is going to be like. I mean, what is the point? But there was always this something in me that, no, keep going, keep going. So I ended up getting on unemployment, which started to save me. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to use at my sister's house. That it was going to be impossible. But my big focus at my sister's house was just to survive her family. Just to survive the insanity that was her home. I was, even from a New Age perspective, because that's where I went from Christianity, was into New Age. Because I had to, after my felony arrest, I had to put aside everything that I had ever known. Because everything that I had ever known, everything that I was ever taught about life landed me 25 years of an addiction, facing felony drug charges, don't know if I'm going to jail. My world was collapsing. So I was having a moment where I was like full belly crying, in despair, crying out to God, begging Jesus to help me, do something, take this from me, because I don't know what to do anymore. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to die because I have my sons I love. But where are you? What is there something wrong with me that I can't be delivered from this? If you know my heart, you know that I want this out of my life. That morning after that episode, I woke up with this realization that everything that I had ever known up until that point brought me to where I was in that moment. And in that moment, I decided that everything I had ever learned, taught, heard, It didn't matter to me what it was. It was getting thrown way on the back burner, and I had to find a solution. I had to find something somewhere, because this can't be it. This can't be it. What am I missing? So that's kind of where that started, which led me into the New Age system without knowing, because I wasn't talking to anybody. I was in isolation. I didn't want to hear anybody's opinion. I just was just trying to find the truth, which through that is learning about like attracts like, the law of vibration, and all of that. So I'm just still seeking. I don't know what to do with all of it, but it's better than what I was living. It made more sense to me that, hold on, I have a say-so? I could have done this myself? Wait a minute, what do you mean I'm not a victim? It was just like all of these eye-opening things. It just started shifting. The craziness was still not out of my life. You know, I'm still dabbling with pills. You know, I'm still holding on to syringes for just in case the moment rises, you know, like that mindset that even through all of that, that want to escape, that want to feel better was still there. It was still there. It's like, why? So that's why I kept exploring, looking and listening to other people and what they suggest about trying things. So if I heard somebody and they said, do X, Y, and Z, you will get this result. Well, I would go all the way in to do X, Y, and Z. And if I didn't get the result that they promised, well, then I'd put it aside. You know, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I didn't get something right, or maybe my heart is just so deeply wounded. So I just started trying to work through my emotions during the time where I am waiting for my husband at the time to get out of prison. It was an insane time of my life, but I look back on it with such, yeah. Now I could see, and more every day since the first time that I heard Darius's interviews, every day I see more and more of myself. I'm more and more aware of the purposes behind it. I mean, just the 2013 period, that was when my son, my oldest son, was sentenced to 8 years in prison. That devastated my life. I mean, I was struggling before then, but they took him from me. And there was nothing I could do to save him from himself, save him from that charge. There was nothing I could do. I could only try to get as much pills in me as I can, to numb as much of myself as I can, so I can keep doing what I need to do to keep a roof over my head, my youngest son's head, and now having to support my son who's going to go off to prison somewhere, and I have no idea what's going to happen to him. My grandson was a year old. My world was just, I guess it was always collapsing in that 25-year period. There was always something that was falling and failing, and it was always somebody else's fault. I didn't know. I mean, I really had no idea about anything at all. That blaming other people for my unhappiness, my hurt, my heartbreak was so easy. Yeah, it's your fucking fault. You know, take a pill. Which, you know, turned into taking these narcotics orally. To the last 5 years, I was putting a needle in my arm. That was a new low. You know, I used to pride, I don't smoke pills. I just take them like you're supposed to. Well, that, you know, it's like the funny how things just work out. And it was, which made me feel even less about myself. So it was just this constant flow of there's something wrong with you. There was something wrong with me. My whole life hearing there is something wrong with me. And everything, because I believed that, everything in my life was confirming that there was something wrong with me. So after my husband at the time got out of jail, that was another huge shift. This was just before Darius. That was another huge shift, because when you love someone, you don't do anything to put them in harm's way. And that man would not stop telling me about pills, getting pills, getting pills. 2 months into him being home, I got a dirty urine for meth. You know what I'm saying? It was just this constant, he was there and he was always pushing and always pushing. And it's like, you know, I'm on probation. You know, why are you putting me in this position? You know, I'm an addict too. You know what I'm saying? Of course I would like to feel better. Sorry, you know, but it became in that time, because I felt so unloved and like there was something wrong with me, that I am not good enough. I had to learn how to love myself regardless of whether he loved me or not, whether he showed me love or not. That is what I was being called to do during that time. And the more he pushed, the more it was just a knowing in me that this is done. This is done. If I stay in this any longer, I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to get back on pills. And I don't want this in my life. I can't save him from himself. Which ended with him backhanding me because I said no about stopping and getting pills while I'm on felony drug probation and just barely have permission to be out of the county for work. It's like, why would you? It blew my mind. So that was the end that night that he hit me. And then I was filled with anger. That's all I was. I was just bubbling with anger because I needed that to do what I was about to be doing. You know, I needed that. I went from being in love and feeling sorry for him to being so angry. And I packed up my shit within a month. I moved out. We were divorced in 3 months, and I instantly fell out of love with him. It was the most insane thing. My son was in prison. He used to call me every night, talk to me. He put this man on the phone with me one night. And the minute I heard him say, "Hey, Miss Jen," butterflies in my stomach. Never talked to him before. Never anything. I was in a long distance relationship at the time. I couldn't understand what this was about. I mean, even to the point where I stopped and that night wrote in my journal, like, what the fuck is this about? What is this? I couldn't, and then at that point, I couldn't stop thinking about him. It's like, what am I going to do with this kid? He's 14 years younger than me. He spent his whole life in and out of jail. Thinking, what the hell is wrong with you? It was the craziest thing to have ever experienced, and knowing, looking back and saying, that was my soul. That I believe that was my soul's recognition of him and the purpose he was going to serve in my life, which was going to be helping me get to the end in a way that was permanent, lasting. It's not about 12 steps or anything else, no rapid detox, no rehab, none of that. It was a journey of self-discovery, but to get to the point where I love myself regardless of whether you love me or not, whether you think I'm attractive or not. I mean, it was just, so when I made that separation, I was loving myself, which I never, ever, 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 ever did. Never, ever, ever did. I was not nice to myself. I did not talk nice to myself. But I was loving myself, talking kind to myself, encouraging myself. It's been a crazy 25-year period. So in that, I'm divorced, I move, I get in my own place, and I'm still seeking. I'm setting intentions. I am seeking out the truth. There's something, because I still had a hidden syringe in my closet. So it was like, why haven't I thrown this out yet? But that all ended. And I had seen Darius's interviews on YouTube and just scrolled past them. I don't know what I was looking for, but looking for something. But I scrolled past them a few times. And then one day, I didn't. I was just like, okay, you know what? Let me just watch this. And something turned on, connected, turned on, was like, oh my God, did he just fucking say what he said? Did I just hear him say what he just said? It was blowing my mind that here is somebody who is sharing this that to me should be some deep secret, in a club somewhere that nobody gets to hear. So I'm listening to this, and I could not get enough at that point. So I was just like, okay, finally, I'm finally getting at this. I'm getting some truth here. This makes sense to me. So I went through that back and forth of that for about a month, watching all of his interviews, and a thirst that it cannot be quenched. I had to take the class. So I kept going, and every single day since that day, he has, the truths that he has shared with me changed everything about my life. Everything about the way that I felt, everything about how I thought about myself, how I thought about my family, just the whole environment of everything. It was just like, I don't even have words for it to describe this. Like knowing that here all of this time, all of this suffering, and I may have clawed and crawled my way to get there, but I made it to the fucking truth. And it's been changing me every single day. I had my one out-of-body experience, and this was like 8 months in. I'm practicing. I'm doing everything he says to do. I'm practicing. I had the little, I keep saying little, I keep diminishing it for myself because I did for a while. I diminished it. Like, it's not even worth typing in a testimony over this. This is ridiculous. Like you didn't, but I knew that I did, because up until this point, I don't remember my dreams. I never remember my dreams, which is why I know that I remember every bit of it. When I woke up, when I got back into my body, when I woke up, when I came to my body, it really was a holy shit moment. Everything went from believing everything that he was sharing to knowing that there's nothing anybody could ever tell me, knows nothing you could ever do to tell me that I didn't experience what I experienced, that I now know the truth of who I am. Fuck y'all and all your lies. Oh, I was mad. I look back on the 25 years of my life and my whole life, the way I spent it, being lied to about everything. There isn't one thing that I believe that I wasn't lied to about. Everything I knew up until that point was bullshit. It was a lie. So, okay, fine. Now what? Just keep practicing. It's like it doesn't even matter. I'm shut my TV off. I don't listen to the radio. I disconnect everywhere that I can, that the system doesn't have its claws in me. I'm so focused, and I have spent so much time in isolation so I can get this truth. I have to. And now that I have this knowledge and this understanding, all I want to do is scream from the mountaintop. Like, running into battle with a freaking war cry. Like, I have to tell everybody, there are so many people out there struggling with addiction, diseases, and disorders. And we've been set up for it. It's a fucking setup. I'm so entirely fired up about this. If I had the money to put behind my fire, oh my God. Ugh. So I think it was the days following having my out-of-body experience. It's been every single day. It's been every single day. I am moved by something. I am connecting with something. I am, my everything is being filled with unconditional love. All of the bitterness, the hatred, the resentment, the rage, the anger, the judgment, the fear is all being replaced little by little every single day. Every single day. So yes, it was almost grabbing that little secret baggie and laughing and giggling, skipping all the way to the dumpster. Like, that's what I said, finally. And it's been to say, I don't crave it. I don't crave it. There is nothing in this world that could ever make me feel better than I feel right now. There is no drug. There is no drink. There is no food. There is no sex. There is no man. There is no nothing to make me feel any better than I do right now. Nobody can love me more than I love myself right now. And that alone is a mind blower. To look at myself and love the woman that's looking back at me. Coming from, I would kick my ass on daily. It was bad. So, it is not your fault. We were conditioned for addiction, disorders, and diseases. Everything about our lives were being funneled into addiction. Funneled. So it's not your fault. It wasn't my fault. It's not any of our faults. You were set up for this. And the truth will set you free. I'm free today. I'm free today because I recognize the conditioning. I see the lies. I see the patterns. I'm doing the research where it's just like childhood entertainment. It makes me want to drop a fucking bomb on Disney World. We've been so set up. We can get free from it. We can come out from underneath it. And we can stop the hemorrhaging. Shut your fucking TVs off. Get Disney out of your life. Get rid of childhood entertainment. Get rid of the video games. If you really had any idea what they're doing to our youth, if you had really any idea, I know it's pretty hard because TV and movies has been the biggest fucking babysitters of our families. It was my babysitter. It was my parents' babysitters. We're busy. We're distracted. We're depressed. We're drugged. We're desperate. Our minds are so twisted up with the conditioning that brought us there. What else are we going to do but stick your kid in front of a fucking television and breed and condition them for fear? Fear. The baby can barely sit up, but he just saw Bambi's mom get brutally murdered. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you are fucking with our minds from just as long as you can sit up. It blows my mind. I have grandchildren, and I see some of the stuff that they watch. It makes me want to take a hammer to the TV and say, do you guys not know? But it's a whole lifestyle change for the parent. A whole lifestyle change for the parent. You are going to have to find some way to educate and train up your children. You can't handle yourself because you've been so deeply conditioned. How are you going to stop the conditioning of your child's mind? Because that's an addict. That's going to be a stripper. That's going to be a drug dealer. And he'll probably go to prison. That's what we are conditioned for. It's what we're conditioned for. Just if you look at America today, over 100 million Americans, and that's just the numbers they want to share. What about all the people that aren't sharing that they're struggling with an addiction or disorder? What about all, it's not an accident. It's a design. It's a design. The truth that will set you free is recognizing your life in its current miserable condition is not your fault. You can forgive yourself for all of your past, understanding that if you had the truth of who you are on a soul level, you wouldn't have made the choices that you made to get you where you are. It's not your fault. You can get free by seeing it, recognizing it. You know, there's things that you could just easily look for, to see. You've been set up. We've all been set up. The great work that I have felt and have come to know is unconditional love. And never in my life did I hear anything about unconditional love. And if you unconditionally love somebody, you're not judging them. That blew my freaking mind. It's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now I'm understanding. I'm not going to judge myself. Well, wait a minute. I don't have to judge myself. This wasn't my fucking fault. That's something else. That somebody else created this nightmare for me. Not my fault. I can love myself. I can look at myself in the mirror and even sometimes just laugh at the programming, the codes that are still firing off. That it's a program. That is not me. Those thoughts, that self-pity, that fear, that doubt, that loneliness, that is not me. That's the installed fucking code that I am rewriting every day, and so can everybody else. We all can rewrite the code and love ourselves. And through loving ourselves, we get to admit unconditional love. Could you imagine what this place would be like if everybody was emitting the pure state of unconditional love for everybody else? The prisons would be empty. The hospitals would be no more. It would just be like it's supposed to be. Freedom, unconditional love. I want everybody to experience it. Having gone from hating the word love, thinking it was a ridiculous thing I wanted nothing to do with, to now that every single day more of it is trickling in, lighting up, firing up, whatever it is. I know my current natural state of being is unconditional love. I want to admit that to everybody. I want everybody to feel what I feel. I want everybody to feel what I feel. It'll change everything about their life. We don't have to be miserable anymore. We don't have to be depressed. We don't have to be drugged. We don't have to be desperate. How many people out there are so fucking desperate? How am I going to pay my bills? My kid is doing this. The son of a bitch is cheating on me. And I mean, how many people spend their life from that desperate and dark place because it was installed in them? Because they were lied to about every aspect of who they are. Yeah. Well, I don't feel like a victim. And I really don't feel like a victim. I signed up for this. I came here. This is part of the system. There's nothing I can do about the system. I can't, of course I'd like to throw an atom bomb on it, but that's not happening. So the best atom bomb I can be is unconditional love. I mean, if you've got studies and studies showing the detrimental harm that childhood entertainment is doing on children's mind, then that's evidence enough for me. To look back, plant medicine, the witch hunt of Salem. They made everybody stop making their own medicine. Now you got to buy this shit over here. Well, you don't know what's in it. You don't know who made it. But here, you're going to take this from now on because if you grab any herbs out of your garden, we're hanging your ass and setting you on fire. Conditioning. As far back as you can even look. It's not about being pissed off at the system. It's about being aware that this is what's happening. Okay, all right, motherfucker, no problem. I've got my way of dealing with you, and that is to be my natural state. Be unconditional love. Do everything that I can to set everybody free. Everybody that is here to be free, the whole thing. But you know what I'm saying? It's like there are so many people that are suffering. And if they know the truth of who they are, what is really going on, if you want freedom, you're going to pay attention. You're going to get to examine and look at your life a completely different way. It's not your fault. You were conditioned to put that needle in your arm. You were conditioned to smoke that crack. You were conditioned because there was nothing else you could be done because nobody taught you to do anything to do with all of the absolute trauma that you were facing and the external fix illusion. We've been conditioned to reach for a substance outside of ourselves, no matter what it is. We weren't taught to go inward. We weren't taught anything about what to do with the emotions that we have, because we have them. We're here to have them. But you want me to buy a product. You want me to drink that elixir. I mean, Jesus, they were putting cocaine back in the day in the 17, whatever it was, cocaine in their whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the history, you can see all of the places that they, manipulated and did what they did. So it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Thank you. I just, to me, bravery. To me, it's bravery, because less, people have been killed for less. You know what I'm saying? He is sharing the truth of who we are in a way that nobody else is. Like, I am so, I've been shocked on so many levels just watching, listening to his teaching. It's just like, how is he away? How can he say all of this? Really, it was like, how is he really saying what he's saying? He just called the new age out. Y'all are fucked up. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're saying things that half the people on YouTube, you need to punch yourself in the face, because you've been propagating that same shit. You're interviewing the new age. It's like you're just, I love you, Darius. I just cannot, everything that you have shared, and I know I'm not the only one, everything that you have shared with this woman has changed my life, every aspect of it, every facet of it, and it never stops. It never stops. I'm coming to realizations every single day. I didn't know I was longing for home, the other side home. Here I think I'm waiting, where's my block house and my 50 acres? Life sucks until that happens. No, this doesn't matter. This really doesn't matter. I'm longing for home. So that shifted everything. It's just shifted everything for me. I can't even tell you, because it would be every single day about my home on 50 acres. I want my sons. I have all these, manifestations, and I'm commanding this and I'm commanding that. And in a sentence that he shared, just poof, all of that gone. All of that gone. And I now know. I hate eating. I don't like eating. I don't like grocery stores. I don't like the food. I don't like it. So now that I get to look back on my life, I can say, I understand. I always thought food was a curse. Well, it turns out that it is not, I don't like it for a reason. So I just get to make so many connections about who I am on a soul level. And that's why I say, I don't care what is going on. I listen to Darius every day. Every day. Every day. I am on repeat. I am listening, and I'm listening, and I'm listening, because I will always be brought to something that didn't catch me the first 20 times around. Always. There's always new connections being made. And, repetition and habituation. That's how they conditioned us to have these messed up lives. Well, I'm going to do the same thing to rewrite the code. I am going to keep and keep and keep and keep and keep practicing and keep doing. But, the other thing, he said something about the out-of-body state that really it triggered me. Darius said that it's not about that. Sure, that's great, and it's the highway. But the most important thing that as souls we can do is be unconditional love here. I don't have to get out of the body to access the same information that I could access out of the body by being unconditional love for myself and for others. So that just really took the pressure off of me too. It's like, I know I have an out-of-body experience every single night. And when I'm ready to be awake for it, then I'm going to be awake for it. But until then, I've got unconditional love firing off in me all day long, every single day, since that first day, since the first day. So thank you, Darius. I love you, man. Yeah, I'm ready to set the captives free in as powerful a way as I can. It's not even a choice for me. I don't know what I'm doing, really. I'm just doing it because if I don't have an outlet, if I don't put this force, which I just recently learned, that this force of energy is love. I didn't know that. I'm trying to squash down this anger, this passion, this, till the day, Darius, that you said, it was on the Water of Life. I've listened to it a million times about that. We don't understand what love is. We don't understand what that is. And when I heard that lady describing her, that anger in the pit of her stomach, man, I was in tears. I was just like, that's me. How does she know? You know, it was just like, oh my God, that's love. That's love. Every day, Darius, every day, oh my gosh. It's freed me. It's freed me. And I don't even know what to say about it. I'm here and I want to help. So